Alright, so we did a little testing stream yesterday. We basically streamed for 6 hours and we just grinded out 5.4.6. Probably about 90% of it was me actually farming. Basically this team, I'll just replace one of them with Wiccan or whatnot, or just run a full Herc team. If you have an Ascended Herc, it's probably the fastest way to chew through these paths. But as we all know, 5.4.6 has kind of been the go-to talking place for Necropolis revive farming. And these numbers here that you see on the screen, after 6 hours of streaming, minus about 14 minutes worth of breaks, and I would give or take like 20 minutes worth of just clowning around on stream, not really doing what we were meant to be doing. Let's say that this is 5 hours worth of farming. So now let's get a bit more into it. So the revives there, we managed to grind out 44 level 1 revives, 18 full energy refills, and we just used them as we got them. And we also spent 450 units. That was just buying energy refills. But you can do it a lot cheaper than that. I was doing it for speed and efficiency. All of these little revives that I grinded up along the way, we had 72 of those by the end of the stream. So 72 small energy refills, which equates to a 5.14 full energy refills. So you may as well knock some units off of that, because that's about 180 units worth of saving there. Well, that's not all. You get a few other little goodies here. So let's reduce this cost even further. Before we start really breaking it down, we get into the math and we just see, is it worth doing this, or is it worth buying the 1,000 unit offers at the end of CavEQ like a lot of people are doing? You get the refills, you get the team revives, you get potions. But we kind of just want to do this with Aegon, yeah? So Aegon, you really don't need to buy the level 2 revives. You really want to avoid it. You don't really want to heal up Aegon either. If you have Heimdall on the team, we're just looking to do this as easy as we possibly can. So we farmed up 396 of these during that 5-hour period. So let's just open 400 of them and let's see what we end up with. Maybe we won't get any units, maybe we won't get any energy, but every single little bit of units or energy that we get is just going to reduce the cost even further. And these are a consistent drop. So it's not as if it's purely RNG for these. You're going to earn a lot of these banging through this quest. The ISO doesn't really matter, so we're not gonna factor in any of the ISO. But after we pop open 400, let's see what we end up with. Like, honestly, any units from this and energy is an absolute bonus. So what's that? Dude, like 45 units, that's a lot, bro. That's a friggin' lot. So 400 of these got us 9 small energy refills. 9 small and 45 units, which is 1.5 energy refills. So now, let's get into some math. Let's get into some math before I really ask, is this worth it? Is this worth doing it? Because we've got to factor in the time as well. So let's break it down, guys. Let's break it down. Let's get this going. Alright, so now let's pull the chalkboard out. Let's get into some simple math. So basically, it took me 8 hours to grind all the milestones in Arena. That was basic, 4-star, featured, and I think it was the T4B Arena. That got me 570 units, and I did more than above average. I got 600 units roughly from that. But the Battlegrounds average, the Battle Trips average, oh my god, is about 300 units. So it's about 870 units all up from that. Then I did 5 hours of 5.4.6 farming. That got me 44 level 1 revives, 18 full energy refills, which, yes, as we spoke about, we just use those to go through the quest. And I spent 450 units to buy more refills, only because I was streaming. The next slide will kind of break this down and tell you why you won't be spending this many units. We also found 72 small energy refills and 45 5 units and 9 small energy refills from the 400 questing crystals. So basically that kind of adds up to about 1.5 full refills plus the 2 full refills. We're just doing simple equations here. So it's about 3.5 refills there, which is kind of cool. That's definitely going to reduce the unit costage in the next slide. So we had to shrink my head down just a little bit. Let's see if I wasn't streaming, if I was just doing this as a normal summoner. Some more simple math equations. All right, so we got on average. This is all average, by the way. This is not a guaranteed amount, so just take this with a grain of salt. This is an average amount that I found to like kind of see where I would end up at. Results may vary and differ between each individual. So we got 870 units gained from arena. We found 44 revives, which is roughly, we're going to break this down as if we were buying refills, and since we can't buy the level 1s, we're going to base them off the cost of the level 2 revives. It's about 880 units worth. We found 18 full energy refills, which is 540 units worth. 81 small energy refills, which is, I'm pretty sure, 173 units worth, roughly, if we were buying energy. And then the quest crystals, we actually opened up 45 units. I do think if you're doing it this way and you're trying to do it as cost efficiently as possible, do not trade your quest crystals in for the 100, hoping for the holy grail. I've never hit it. So I really do suggest just opening the regulars and just seeing what you get out of it. So, total units spent per revives gained. After we factor everything in, I spent roughly 240 units on energy refills, and that got me 44 revives. So, as you can see, spending 880 units or putting in a bit of time in the hours, you're only spending roughly, on average, 240 units to get the same amount of revives. So let's go on to the next slide. So now, I know a lot of people are like, oh, those numbers are cool, but how much time are you spending to do all this? So 8 hours of arena to get those units, plus 4 lots of 5-hour revive farming. So that's about 28 hours all up. This is just to get the units. This is say like you don't want to spend any money, you want to do this all free to play and you're starting with 0 units. That will be 28 hours to get 176 total level revives. On average, on average. One path of Necro. From my experience, I've watched a few people do it. I'm of the lower skilled variety. So it's, and I also stream. So I've noticed that it takes between 3.5 to 5 hours to do a path. That's full Aegon. My first path took me about 4.5 to 5 hours. That was on stream and that was with a rank 4. And it took me about 4 hours to do another path on stream and that was at rank 5. So I'd say anywhere between 3.5 to 5 hours to do a Necro path. Now, the revives. I've seen people do it in as little as 50 for a full Aegon team. And I've seen people, myself, do it for 150 revives. So we're just going to call it about 100 revives average. That's not healing up Aegon. That's just going in with the full Aegon team, be it Heimdall, Proxima, Nick Fury. You can use Angela as well to get an extra Fury. You could use Odin in the team. I do like to bring one reverse controls counter, which will be Juggernaut for me. It's just super simple to use. If you have a Wiccan, that's great as well. And there's some troublesome paths that you might want to turn off recoils and use a Shuri or a Kate or a Absman just to deal with annoying counters. Or you can just Aegon through the whole thing. You're probably going to spend more revives that way, but this is why we're farming them. So, total time spent to farm every path in Necropolis. There's 6 total paths, so we need about 600 revives to do it the Aegon way and just blast through. It's going to take about 98 hours of your time to farm the arena for the units, plus farming 5.4.6 revives. Mind you, this is not doing 5.4.6 on auto. If you're doing it on auto, you're going to add a bit of time, but you can also do other things while you're grinding these revives. So do you think you've got what it takes to grind out Necropolis this way? Guess what? It can be done. It can be done. This is free to play. Granted, you have a rank 4 Aegon, and I hope that everybody has a rank 4 Aegon. If you're using a 5-star Aegon, I've seen people do it in about 120 to 150 revives. Hopefully you got a bit of skills to go along with it. So, what is DD's thoughts on this? Do I think this method, this tactic is worth it? 100% if you got the time. If you got the time, I would 100,000 million % say you got a rank 4, rank 5 Aegon. If you've got a rank 4, do the rank 4 to 5 path. The one with the gem first. Get that man up to rank 5. You don't have to ascend Aegon. I have not ascended Aegon, and I don't think it is a wise option. Unless you really want to, unless Aegon's like one of your favorite champs, sure, but it's really not needed. What are the base premises for this? I would say full Aegon team. I would leave recalls on after you've ramped him up. So there's little bit of extra units that you've got saved from grinding out those arena milestones. Guess what? You can use those for mastery swaps if you want. If you want to bring the Shuri, the Kate, the Absman, whatever other champion you want to bring. I 100% think this is a better way of doing it if you do not have incredibly high skill and you are so good with using Shuri, Kate, Zemo. If you're going that way, you could probably just farm up a couple revives. You could do roll, farm up your potions. That's going to take a while. It's really tedious. The paths are going to take longer, requires a higher skill cap. But you could probably just spend $1,000 on like the Cav EQ completion, buy up the team revives, the team potions, get a few refills, farm some revives that way. We don't want to do that. We just want to go full Aegon. This is the fastest, most time efficient way that you can do it. And if you don't want to spend a single dollar, you know, you're going to have to put in some hours. That's about 4 days of farming in total. But you can do a path a week. If you want to do a path a week, you're going to spend about 30 hours all up a week. That's grinding enough for 2 paths on average. And you can kind of get ahead of it on a week-to-week basis. But you know what? DD thinks it's worth it. DD thinks this is the way everyone should do it. If you're scared of heading into Necro, I hope that this video makes a bit of a difference. And hopefully it makes you realize that it can be done. If you're a scrub like me and you suck at playing, you can do it the free-to-play way. You can grind the units, the revives, and get the fuck into Necropolis. And let's get to that 5 million death total. I hope everyone has a lovely day and a lovely night, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.